Greetings, sailors, and welcome back to World of Warships and a somewhat unexpected look at the Rhode Island, because I wasn't planning on whaling to get this, but as it turned out, I had some YouTuber RNG, I guess you could call it, because this popped up in the very first available bundle in which I could buy. So, yeah, currently the only way to get this is through the aircraft carrier, the second branch preview event, where the tokens I think are only available through the bundles. That they're not even giving you some tokens in this one. If you want the American tokens, you can only get them through the bundle. But one of the other things they've put in this big stack of bundles is the Rhode Island, which has nothing to do with aircraft carriers at all, and I suspect has only been included as a way to get people to spend their money, which I absolutely cannot recommend. I do not like this. It's an improvement on how it used to be, but yeah, aside from the very rare case where, as happened to me, it's in the very first bundle, I definitely cannot recommend you doing this as a purchase method. I highly suspect it will come in later. The article doesn't say, but I highly suspect this will come in later as a steel or a coal or a research bureau ship. So I would say just be patient. This is not outstanding enough to be worth whaling for, and even if it was outstanding, I still wouldn't recommend whaling for it, because I do not like this method of doing things at all. So what it is a wargaming invention, semi-invention, I think, more or less. The hull is based on some of the preliminary fast battleship designs which led to the Iowa, at least according to the blurb and the article. But what they've done is they have put on the 14-inch quad turrets, which were originally going to be on what became the North Carolina class, and we have that in-game as the Florida. And you might be thinking, 14-inch guns at tier 10, that's a pretty puny caliber. The only battleship with a smaller caliber that comes to mind is the is it the Illinois? The one with the Des Moines guns, basically, cruiser guns on a battleship hull. These are obviously proper battleship guns, but yeah, it's really lacking compared to a lot of its peers when you've got 18-inch plus guns available. However, they have beefed them up a bit. They are listed as being the same guns as on the Florida, but the ammunition has been improved. So you've got better fire chance on the high explosive. Possibly, is it even better damage? I think the damage might be the same. I think it's just the fire chance that's improved. But they've also improved... oh, there we go. The damage is slightly better. But they've also improved the AP penetration angles. So they are more effective than you would think. It's also got a pretty good 22-second reload, so it's sort of in the range of something like the Scharnhorst. Which, yeah, it does add up to being more substantial firepower than you might expect. It does have fairly low health for its tier, though. You've got, where are we? Only 74,000 hit points, and the top protection is it's nothing special, 26%, just over a quarter. It does, however, to offset that, have an improved repair party like the Massachusetts, so it actually, as you can see, I've actually enhanced it with the DCP mod 1, but it has a 76-second cooldown, and the heal, as you can see, also is very much improved, 38 seconds, so the survivability is actually pretty decent as well, as opposed to having low hit points and none of these other tools. We've also got engine boost, which along with Scharnhorst 43 seems to be the flavour of battleships being released at the moment, and you have the option of surveillance radar with 9 kilometer range, but pretty substantial 40 seconds action time, and you could also have a fighter or a spotter in that spot as well. In terms of setup, obviously you don't really have to make that much of a choice with it being a US battleship. You can choose the range and either accuracy or reload, whereas most of them, the accuracy is in that slot, and the range, you can either choose between range and reload in this. So yeah, that again helps with the guns. Despite their small calibers, you get that 11% reduction to dispersion, which is more than most battleship lines get. Otherwise, nothing too radical there. Otherwise, 12.3 concealment with the usual setup, so it's reasonably stealthy. That's not too bad. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else that's really remarkable about it. AA is decent enough. You've got, I think, okay maneuverability, although the turning circle radius is definitely going to be worse than Florida, I suspect. Yeah. So it's not like it handles super amazingly, but it's certainly going to be better than some of its peers, and it's also got pretty decent speed for a battleship, nearly 35 knots without the speed boost, although that is with the flag, of course. So yeah, let's take this into battle, and let's see how we do. So, Two Brothers, domination, and we do have CVs in play. Also, that's an unusual mix of destroyers. The enemy team has a pair of Forrest Shermans, which do technically have torpedoes, but are much more reliant on their guns, and a Paolo Emilio. So that's not that much to worry about in terms of torpedo power, except if the Emilio comes running up to you in their fuel smoke and decides to unload all their torps in your face in the classic move, which usually then ends very shortly afterwards for the Emilio, but we'll see if they just do decide to play that way. Yeah, we have a much more torp focused lineup. Summers, the Jaeger, and the Z52. This does have decent torps. Jaeger, the Jaeger is probably going to have a slightly difficult time with the Essex being in play, but I guess we'll see how that goes. So yeah, everybody else has considerably larger guns than I have, even on my own team, so that's always going to be the case. But like I said, they are more effective than you would think, being only 14-inch guns at this tier. But yeah, they really did have to considerably buff the ammo, otherwise you would be, I think, struggling. They've made an effort to not make this just an HE spammer, even though they did improve the HE. Because if the AP was completely terrible, then you would be having to entirely lean on the HE. I mean, that's even the Florida at tier 7, 14-inch guns are sort of struggling a bit, so you do have to hope for side shots or else load HE with the Florida. Florida can struggle a bit, but it's doing better than the California at least, which has the same limitations, but is tremendously slow. Anyway, we don't have a lot of things on this, a lot of ships on this flank, the enemy do seem to have a few more. Let's pop a speed boost, which does last for a healthy 3 minutes. And that Brindisi is... I don't know if they're just doing a little poke, or were they hoping to spot a destroyer? Not sure. Nice, double citadel. The Paolo is there, so that's fine. The Republic, Shikishima. I mean, the low health really you do notice, but you've at least got, like I said, the improved tools to deal with it, unlike stuff like the Odin, for example, or I'm trying to think there are other examples of low health battleships. For some reason, the only other one that's coming to mind right at this moment is the Viribus Unitis, but that's at tier 5. Things at tier 5 are a little bit different than they are at tier 10, so I don't know if that's really the best example. But yeah, already we've lost like 40% of our health, so Let's get the heal going. They could have also gone the British route and given it the super heal with just a regular cooldown. But no, we have a regular heal with a very quick cooldown, so yeah. But even though 74,000 hit points, you know, in theory it's not completely terrible. It's not like it runs down fairly quickly at tier 10, especially if you're getting focused. Right, that Paolo's having a bad time, so that's fine. I am okay with this. Sorry, a bit of a frog in the throat there. I might have to slightly reduce the volume of that in editing. I'm still getting a bit of coughing and whatnot as the after effect of this this cold that I had. Still not fully over it, but I can't complain too much. I've got a friend who's their mum had, I think, the same cold, and it just lingered and lingered and lingered, and it was really unpleasant. I am not sure what our Rito. That's that's a strategy right there. I don't think I've seen a carrier do that before. I wonder if they've got secondary spec going and they're like, I must get within secondary range. I'll get me closer. I want to hit them with my sword. Anyway, I wish the Republic would stop shooting at me. Oh, you're really not going very far at all, or very fast at all, are you? Yeah, playing with their speed a bit. Right, we've got some battleship friends here. The Incomparable, actually. Not far off the health I've got, as is the Lauria. So it's not like it's an absurdly low amount of health for the tier, but yeah. Oh, and there goes the Incomparable, who, yeah, it's a squishy ship. I don't play that ship all that much. Also, our CV died. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. As an interesting side note, or, well, do I mean interesting? If you try and do it from this screen, it's alright still from this screen, but if you're trying to do reports from the team screen, it gets very confused now with the little stat cards that they've added. Sometimes, maybe they fixed that with the 13.1 patch, but yeah, okay, maybe they did fix that. It was kind of annoying. We're trying to report or compliment people, and the cards would just get in the way and it would not work properly. So I guess they did fix that. Which, as an annoyance, they're putting out that 13.1 patch. There's a replay I had that I was going to do, and now I can't do it. It's entirely my own fault. I can't blame anyone else for me not having been a bit more proactive in recording that, but no, I didn't, and then now I can't. It's not like the old days where one could... oh, there goes the Lauria as well. That's not good. Not like the old days where I could save old clients and that was all hunky-dory. Right, Essex, go away. So we have racked up a decent amount of... ouch. AA... thingamy there. AA damage, but it's only 4 planes because we're facing off against trying to get away here, but I don't think we're going to live too much longer. Those other 2 battleships just evaporated, alas, and there's not much I can do about it, and now the CV's out for my blood. I really don't know what our CV just, like, that was just deliberately suiciding at that point. Like, I think we might give them a report afterwards. Ooh, that'd be really nice if I could vanish myself. Alright, this F-52 is taking some heat here, but yeah. We now also have another pair of ships going up the middle, which is also obviously going to end very well. Okay. I'm I'm not liking how this is looking. I really am not. This is not going too great at all. Oh, Shikishima, leave me alone! Leave me alone! Yeah, this is one of those battleships where you're kind of sort of relying on other people to take the attention away from you, or to absorb the firepower, the bigger, better armoured, more hit pointy battleships, which is sort of a bit tricky sometimes. Your teammates don't particularly always want to cooperate. Which I don't like. There are certain battleships that like that, where they're more kind of support battleships, and it's like, I don't necessarily want to play this because it means relying on my team too much, and yeah, I think this does kind of fall into that category. Incomparable, which, you know, we saw what happened to the Incomparable there when it was trying to be a frontline ship. That's definitely another one. It heavily relies on its stealth, and the stealth goes out the window if you have a CV in play. And it's not like you can smoke yourself. So we lost one of those cruisers. There's another cruiser on the way out, so that's fantastic. Yeah, I don't have a warm, fuzzy feeling about this. I was hoping I could reach at least 100k, but we're taking too much sustained fire here. Were they in a division? No, the two cruisers weren't. The Lariat and the Incomparable were, but yeah, I don't really know there's much else we can do here. I've only got one heal left, and yeah, not a lot that I can actually heal back. So this is going well. This is going very well. Perils of doing live recordings. It can go really any number of ways, and sometimes those ways are hilariously bad. I mean, I've got enough health that one decent hit from the Shikishima might just end me completely. You do, like, I think you've gotten some idea of the AP performance from this match, though. It really, like, that improved. They don't give any numbers for how much the improved AP angles. Yeah, there we go. Sort of help it, as opposed to the Florida or the other 14-inch American battleships, but it's noticeable. It is noticeable. Still, though, that wasn't a huge amount of damage for this game. This was kind of a weird game. We lost the CV and a pair of cruisers in the middle channel. And the CV especially is just baffling. Really baffling. Don't know what that was about at all. Okay, so there we are. That was a fairly crushing mismatch. Even without a quarter of our team suiciding up the middle channel. We only sank 3 enemy ships. It's not the worst mismatch I've been in recently, although I happen to be on the winning team. But yeah, a game where we wiped an enemy team without losing a single ship, which yeah, at that point it's like, am I playing World of Tanks? Good grief. Anyway, let's give that another go. Yeah. That was really not a particularly great game. No CVs this time, which is quite nice. Again, everybody's got bigger guns than me. Oh well. Much more in the way of torpedoes to worry about. Also some tier 8s in this game. I think the tier 8 battleships must be feeling a little unlucky right now. I know I would be with this matchup. Anyway, might actually get a chance to use our radar this time. We weren't really in a position to do it last time. Also, somebody's caps lock is on. Right, first shot's out. I will say, with it only being 9-kilometer radar, there are times when that's going to be useful, of course, but equally, other people might find the spotter more useful. Although I think the range is pretty good, to be honest. I don't know if, like, the shell travel time of US shells is always a little ponderous, so I don't know if having like 27 kilometers range or whatever is going to be that useful. Anyway, it's the Halford in this cap, which is not great news for our Z42. There's an enemy Rhode Island, I've just noticed that. Michelangelo as well, that will probably be my next video. I have just unlocked that. It has a very funky turret arrangement, which I'm sure most people have noticed by this point. And yeah, you can secondary spec it as much as you can for a cruiser anyway. It's weird, the best secondary, like, you don't really think improved secondaries and Italians, but so far the best secondary cruisers are the Italian SAP ones, really. Although the German cruisers, some of them, at the higher tiers, you can get them up to the same range as the battleship counterparts, which is kind of wild. And obviously, they're being German secondaries, they have the improved HE, but they don't really have the rate of fire or the built-in accuracy or the numbers to be as effective. So yeah, so it's a little bit wild. You can have your Prince Eugen and your Hipper or whatever with the same secondary range as your Bismarck and your Tirpitz, but it's rather less effective without the equivalent of there being manual secondaries. Right, Michelangelo does have torpedoes, I've got to remember that fact. Let's get a heal going. I'll keep on top of that, might as well take advantage of it. There's also a Montana around here. The Montana is significantly a bigger threat, but yeah, this other Rhode Island is kind of learning that showing broadside like that sort of a bad idea. So there's the Michelangelo secondaries. I think I'm just going to get unspotted and complete this cap. Oh, the room's actually getting reset. That's a little unfortunate. Okay, we might be able to radar this. Ooh, okay, that Montana's getting a bit close. Oh, that's not good actually. We talked about don't get caught in a turn. I might be about to get caught in a turn, but fortunately there are some rocks in the way. This island's in a very awkward place. Who put this island here? I don't approve. Right, he's just fired. That gives me a window. I don't know if I'm going to get this cap, though. I don't know if I'm going to make this turn. Okay, so there's the Michelangelo. Hydro? Are you going to try and do a sneaky torpedo thing? Right, we are just making this turn. This might be a good time for a reload boost. Montana can't hit me, which is good news. The other Rhode Island probably can, though. Do I have enough health? It's really just the rune. I should probably just run away at this point, to be honest. Though it does kind of mean going through this gap. Right, this is a little more awkward than I was hoping it would be. But I am nothing if not an awkward person. And I'll be honest, the US battleships are not my favourite. There's something about playing the US battleships that just doesn't quite click with me a lot of the time. I much prefer Germans, Italians, maybe not the Italians quite that much, but yeah, certainly the Japanese ships you can kind of throw around a little bit more. Although with the Japanese ships that does vary quite a bit. I'm regrinding that line at the moment for Research Bureau purposes, and oh boy, Nagato! Like, the guns when they hit, when they work, are lovely, but it is so very squishy. We could do with a cap, we could badly do with a cap, but I don't really have the support here, and it's not going that well elsewhere, so I think we're just going to boogie out here and probably promptly get broadsided. Yeah, hello Montana. This is gonna hurt. This might even just like... Yeah, that was nasty. Okay, so, that's not good. That's not good, but the fact that we don't have any caps is not great. We are ahead on sort of ship kills, though, so this might be one of those games. I'm going to use these islands just efficiently. Be sneaky. And the fact that there's radar means the Rhode Island's probably back there somewhere as well. Which is interesting. Right, so Michelangelo. Yeah, there's the Rhode Island. You seem to have built your Rhode Island for secondaries, which is not something I would do. I mean, you can, I guess, but I don't think it's the optimal way to do it. Right, let's see how we do. We are probably about to die, unfortunately. I was a bit too focused on trying to take the cap and chasing that other Rhode Island, and I've now found myself, alas, alone. This is kind of weird though, like we are absolutely smashing them on ships so far, but we just don't have the cap control at all. Anyway, here comes my doom. There we go. We'll see how the rest of this one goes. Like, if we don't get control of some caps, that's going to be a problem sooner rather than later. But if we kill them fast enough, then who knows? Little update. They've only got 3 ships left. They are ahead on points, but yeah, it looks like we are going to murder them before the cap circles become an issue. We did get the mid-cap circle, at least, so yeah. I guess I provided a little distraction, and, you know, I did do some damage and I did get a kill, so it was certainly far from a useless endeavour, but I probably could have ended this game still being alive and actually getting to do some more damage in the process. 128k damage, it's not terrible though. Certainly better than the last game. So yeah, even though our map control was kind of not great, we were killing them fast enough for it to not matter. Which is occasionally how it works out. Not that often, but sometimes it does work out this way with, I guess, the enemies just overextending once they are through the caps and getting a bit overconfident and seeing the green circles on the mini-map and thinking, yeah, we've got this, and then they push through and then they don't got this at all. Anyhow, it's just the lightning left, so yeah, I think we'll skip ahead to the end of this one. There we go, Conqueror managed to get the final kill after it the lightning got spotted, so yeah, midway up the board, not terrible. 1400 XP, really not bad at all. Like I said though, I could have survived that one. That was my own poor choices that led me to getting sunk, but at least I went down fighting. So let's do one final one. Subs this time. No CVs though. 2 brothers again. Yeah. Hopefully this goes a bit better than the first game. I guess we'll see. And hopefully I can stay alive this time as well. Wouldn't that be marvellous? I am finding myself... like, I didn't think I'd be, like, coughing this much, or my voice would be this kind of slightly croaky. But I've not really... like, I've had 4 shifts on the hop this week. It was supposed to be 3 long shifts and a shorter shift, but I ended up having my short shift switched to another long shift to cover for someone that was sick. So yeah, the good news is though, I've got next week off entirely. But I feel like I've earned it after this week. But yeah, it means I've just not really had the energy for doing Warships stuff. On the plus side, you know, it means I get paid for all that time I've done, so that's quite nice. yeah, it's weird, isn't it? You go and do stuff at a job and they like pay you. Isn't it weird how that works? It's bizarre. So yeah, it's tiring, but it's good. I like the people that I work with, which it does help a lot when it's that kind of essentially manual labour job. I mean, it's not fully manual labour. We do have an actual big dishwashing machine, as tends to be the case in most commercial kitchens, but it's still reasonably hard work. It's interesting. I would say half the servers, that's an exaggeration as a figure of speech, but at least some of the servers and some of the chefs started off doing kitchen porter work. So yeah, I think everybody there sort of appreciates that it's not the easiest job. But then my counter is that if you're I mean, I don't think I'm suited for cooking at all, but certainly for being the service. Like, I'm sure most customers are fine. Some customers are even lovely, but I don't like that. Would stress me out having to just deal with people all the time. So although it's hard work, like I've done that kind of job where I was in a public-facing position, as it were, and I did not enjoy it at all. Granted, it was more talking to people on the phone than dealing with people face-to-face, but there was still a fair element of dealing with people face-to-face. And, you know, being an Aspie, being on the spectrum, yeah, it's more stressful than I think would be the case for some neurotypical people, but just like especially service industries, you know, working in shops and just dealing with people that way all the time. I could not do that. I absolutely could not do that. Like, it was fine more or less for the job that I was doing previously, but yeah. It was still enough to stress me out, and being in a position where it was even more the case. No, I don't think I could cope with that at all. Anyway, I've been too busy blethering. I've pushed up. I didn't mean to push up. That was not a good plan. I've also run face first into the submarine. It was busy being annoying, so let's see if we can do something about that. Can I use this smoke to disengage? Yes, I can. Right, we have done some damage to the sub. They're actually flooding at the moment, which is nice. Petro, of course, doesn't have torps to worry about, but those guns with AP could be very nasty. Nice. That's a kill. On the sub, actually. I thought it was the Petro for a second there, but no, it was the sub. Yeah, okay. I think we're going to back off. I was too busy blethering. I wasn't sufficiently paying attention. This is the problem sometimes when you're talking and playing a game, especially as you're doing it live. Yeah, there's a YouTuber I watch who has developed, many a true nerd, who's developed a bit of a reputation for having sort of legendarily bad perception, but I mean, given that I too do this as a at least part-time job, I think I can accurately say I absolutely fully understand that like just playing a game is completely well, not completely, it's a different experience than playing and narrating and trying to be entertaining and sometimes even just filling what would otherwise be dead air. It's a skill, and it's not that easy, and I think a lot of people would, like, if they were trying to do it themselves, would possibly be surprised at the fact that it's not that easy, because it's just sitting down and playing video games, right? But at the same time, you know, every job has its challenges, and it's still an absolutely incredible privilege to be able to do this and make some money off it. So I am very much aware of that. It's just You know, I absolutely understand when someone like many a true nerd, you know, they make an obvious, to us the viewer, oversight about something, but it's not necessarily obvious when you're playing the game and you're not just playing the game, when you're having to do other things as well at the same time. Right, we have burned through a bunch of heals already. It would be kind of nice if you had an American commander with Andrew Cunningham's skill, where if you get enough kills, is it like 2 kills, and you actually get bonus consumables. It's certainly nice when you're playing Cunningham or something like Nelson, or really any of them, but any of the ones with super heal, certainly you just get like a bonus super heal because you've managed, I think it's 2 kills. Anyway, Cunningham's quite a nice commander. I suppose an advantage of Rhode Island is you can put any commander you like in. I was going to, like, I think I mentioned this previously, I was going to do I had fake plans to do a video on World of Tanks, because I played a lot of World of Tanks in December, but I kind of decided against it, because it would mostly just be sort of old man rambling, as it were. But it is, yeah, it's looking back at it, it's such a nice decision that they made when they were doing this to not lock things to class type. I think that was a very it was a very pro player decision to make, whereas playing World of Tanks now, yeah, it can feel, there are certain decisions that certain design things that just kind of feel a little antiquated or a bit sort of purposefully anti-player. Right, let's see if we can do some bad things to this Carno. I do wish these battleships would stop firing at me, though. I don't appreciate it. I'm not enjoying it. It's causing me to have a bad time. Right, there we go. Ohio. Doing some things there. This is not going too badly so far, actually. We've only lost 1 ship. We're ahead on points. We are challenging this cap actively. They don't have any destroyers. Oh no, I spoke too soon. There's a vampire. And we are actively defending the decap, even though they are trying to flip it. So, yeah. So yeah, you don't tend to get the huge hits on at range anyway against things other than cruisers. But I think if you're close enough, you could certainly do nasty things to battleships. But yeah, these kind of ranges, well, that was definitely not enough lead. Your shells just don't quite have the punch that the US 16-inch guns would have, or the 18-inch guns of the Ohio. Right, oh dear, Sherman, yeah, you've run kind of face first into that Baltimore, haven't you? Right, I don't know if we can now really challenge this cap sufficiently. I don't think I have the health to really push through it, not when the Missouri and the Republic are there. Is it worth... I'm still spotted. Let's try firing off a radar. No, okay. It might be interesting, and I know they've tied radar duration and distance very much as a sort of national flavour mechanic, but I think it might be interesting to have a ship where you get to choose between duration and length. So you get the choice between long range but short burst radar, or a longer duration but shorter range radar. Or even the same for Hydro. Maybe they might do that at some point. You know, there's only so many gimmicks you can come up with before you start having to do mix and match things. Although they're still managing to come up with some gimmicks in World of Tanks even after all this time. Right. Hopefully the Ohio can do some... It seems super interested in being pushy. They're being very cagey. And certainly would be better able to take the hits than I can at nearly 100k health. Alright, maybe I should switch to HE. See if I can get some fires going. Let's give that a go. I've not really used high explosives so far. They're doing okay at standing their ground. I mean, we've cleared the decap, but we are now fully on a sort of defensive rearguard action at this point. This Ohio is being a bit too cagey, I would say. They're all the way back now at the J line. Yeah. It would be nice if they could get a bit more involved. That's being a little too far back, I would say. Yeah, I would be careful there, Michelangelo. I would pull yourself back. Missouri does have radar. I really like. I don't want to throw this. This does feel like it could go either way. Ah, Prusen's not doing well. Yeah, the Shima. I mean, the vampire will easily be able to thrash the Shima with that much health. But I kind of can't fault the Shima for wanting to try and do something about the caps. Alright, let's see if we can get some fires going in the Missouri. Because the Michelangelo won't be able to, that's only got SAP and AP. I don't like that I'm being targeted, but I think that was just a glance in my direction. Yeah, if there was ever a time for this Ohio to stop being shy, now would be it. That would appear to be the vampire that's pew-pewing from there. Right, no fires so far. It would have been nice. I do have the option of... I mean, I could speed boost my way through the middle. Maybe try and finish off the Republic, but versus the Republic and the Napoli, I don't know if that would be a good idea. Yeah, I've either got the choice of fight the Republic and the Napoli, or fight the Missouri, the Baltimore, and the... Yeah, but if we play kind of defensively, we have got the caps. There's only just about 6 minutes left to go. So as long as we don't do anything too stupid. Okay, now that Iowa's... not Iowa, the Ohio's... The Ohioa... I'm so sorry, America. I don't know what I just did, but it was a bad thing, I'm sure. Yeah. I've decided now's the time to push. Missouri is looking fairly beat up. Right, okay, let's use a speed boost. Nice! Okay, that was a very useful double citadel. Yeah, let's use the speed boost to get a bit closer. We might actually get a productive use of our radar out of this. As long as the Prince Eugen is cautious, I should just kind of retreat at this point. Shima's still alive, but only just. They don't want to get themselves caught, like Missouri, you know, does have radar. They don't really want to get themselves caught out there, but yeah. Right, there's Vampire Torps. There's just keep powering forwards. This is winnable. This is winnable. I feel like I've maybe played a little bit smarter in this one, but maybe not that much smarter. So let's pop radar. Let's see if we can get within range. The Missouri is close to going down. Right, so we're losing the D cap, but I think we can probably take the B cap. Definitely got to finish off this Missouri. No, he's out the cap. Far enough away out the cap that radar's not picking him up. Okay. He's only got the one launcher though, but still. They don't... Like, we don't have too much longer before we win this on points. We're over 900 points now. Just kind of need to not lose anyone. Let's switch to high explosive, actually. There is the absolute question of where this vampire might be dropping from. It's tricky. All you can really do is... Oh, there we go. Maneuver lots and hope that you guess right. So there goes the Prince Eugen. Harry's going to take one, that's fine. So, like, up here somewhere? Radio location would be pretty useful right about now. I could always try going for the B cap. That's maybe what I would try and do. Anyway, rather than just push into the vampire while they're reloading their torps, let's just turn around. Okay, line of sight blocked, so other side of these islands somewhere. Yeah, they're somewhere in the D cap now. But that's fine. He can have the B cap. Doesn't matter. Just staying alive matters at this stage. I wonder if I can... Probably not lob some shells over there. No. Well, there we go. We've won, and I've felt like rather more of an active participant in this one. Yeah, he's trying to get a little bit of last cheeky second damage in, but yeah, that's fine. So there we go. It was a slightly more considered game, at least once I realised I was getting dangerously close at the start. We got a Dreadnought out of that as well. Not bad. So yeah, none of these games have been spectacular damage-wise. But as you can see, the guns perform very solidly. The only real drawback is that relative squashiness in terms of its lack of hit points. And, I mean, the armour is okay. The armour's pretty decent, but as you can see, it's 27mm rather than the 32mm plating. So that definitely contributes to the squashiness feeling. So, yeah, overall, not really a frontline battleship. More of a secondary battleship, but you're not always going to get to play as a secondary battleship, and a lot depends on your teammates and how they play, and also to some extent the composition of your team as well. So not my favourite style of battleship by a long shot, but it's not bad, and I would absolutely recommend having the patience to wait till this becomes available for other means than gambling, because I'm not a fan of that, weirdly enough. I don't know if you've picked that up at all. So that is it for this video. Hopefully you have enjoyed it, and if you have, you can do all the usual things down underneath it. And of course, as always, stay tuned for more.